I got that plugged in. See, I don't think I have all my notes as I'm supposed to have them. Never did this before.
It's always a first.
I know you're awesome to help me.
Always a first.
Do I have to hit the start video one, Joe?
Yeah.
And I would do this down here, I think. Is that this?
I believe that's what that is.
So
There's
hit this. Okay, but then,
Tuning?
okay,
This is one thing that I know how to do it. So,
okay, thank you.
look at that. Between the two of us.
Now, I can't hear him if he's talking.
Me?
There's Mark.
I can't hear him now. When he-
You hear us, Mark?
I can hear you guys just fine.
Oh, there we go.
You hear me through the computer, I'm assuming?
And I have to go into gallery view, she told me.
I mean, you must be getting through our computer, Mike, because the other mics are all turned off. Yeah.
Mark is on Zoom.
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, hello.
I can hear me in the room there.
Do you think we have it, Joe? Or is there something I'm not doing?
No, you're fine. It's,
Everything?
this is with the setup we have. It's when Mark talks, he's gonna hear feedback.
Okay. But that's the way it is. Okay.
Yeah, there's not much.
Oh, I appreciate your helping me. Thank you.
The way we got it set up. So the only other way we were able to make this work was we had a microphone that went down by the computer.
Okay,
It was a completely crude way to do it, but it actually worked.
okay.
She didn't remember that actually. So you know, anytime these are on, they're broadcasting over the channel.
Okay.
There's no way to turn it off.
I could turn down my microphone if that would be helpful.
You're fine on our end. It's just whether or
Okay.
not your feedback is going to be okay.
Yeah, no, I can hear every once in a while a little bit, but it's not a problem for me.
Okay. Rachel on?
That's even if everybody has their mics on. It's the same thing then?
So
Yeah.
right now that's with Zoom, but like with whenever this thing is on.
Yeah.
Right now all the mics are off, so we're good. But if any of them are on,
Yeah.
it's broadcasting.
Then when,
over the
that's when you
channel.
said it's broadcasting. Okay, yep, that's what you were saying.
So do we have anybody else on with us? Or just,
I know Rachel was going to be on here, join us. She's gonna diet. How is she gonna diet? She's
you're
gonna do
also,
something.
just so you know, you're recording right now,
Okay,
which is fine. You can just edit it later.
okay. Thank you.
Nobody else on. Huh.
Oh, participants down there.
Just two us, and
Yeah. That's it. Okay.
so then when we do
You're right.
as far as the video, that I don't know how to do.
Yeah, Lisa said she couldn't get anyone to be able to see the board. She couldn't figure out how to do that. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Couldn't figure it out. And she was showing me, so
There's outputting.
I've never ever done this before.
It's fine.
Yeah.
No. Mark, you didn't have any problem getting on, did you?
No, I probably was delayed signing in a little bit. I didn't realize I had to push another button yet to actually join the meeting. I put the code in and the password and it went right in. One thing I will tell you that if somebody's copying and pasting those off of the agenda and they copy a space at the end, mine wouldn't let me log in with that extra space at the end.
There's Rachel.
Yeah, tell Mitch Rachel got on.
Hi again. You're muted.
How about
There we
now?
go.
Oh,
There
there
she
she is,
goes.
Rachel.
Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
Pretty slim.
There we are.
Ooh,
That's all I do?
look
Oh,
at
yeah, I
that
got the video
fancy
for the
split
board.
screen. Nice.
Yeah, things is showing everything. There we are. So then this right here.
Yes.
So if it's the board for the speaker.
Yes.
So forward is board, back is the speaker.
Okay. All right.
So you can tell Elise what she's got to do is just click on here and click start video. And then
That's
start
what it
video.
was. She couldn't figure that out. Okay. I think we're good? All right. Thank you.
Rachel, you can hear us okay?
Yes, I can hear you great.
Perfect. All right, then I'm going to call to order the Plan Commission meeting at the Lisbon Town Hall on Thursday, October 8th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. Jane, can we get a roll call, please?
Okay, Joe Osterman,
Here.
Becky Pochecker. Here. Ed Nelson,
Here.
Mark Meyer,
Here.
on Zoom. Okay,
Yep.
James Stadler here, Brian Olfen,
Here.
Chad Samansky,
Present.
Rachel Holloway
Here.
on Zoom, okay? And Michael Van Coonen. Here. Okay. And Mitch Slicer,
He's trying to get.
he's trying to get up.
get.
Okay. I believe that
We can call him if he wants, otherwise on the other contraption.
Mary,
Here. Thank you.
Item 3 is comments from citizens present. Does anyone have anything to comment on tonight? Item 4 is the minutes. Discussion and possible action on the following minutes: the June 11th, 2020 minutes and the September 10th, 2020 minutes. Anyone have any questions or comments on the minutes? Or is there any motions on the minutes? Becky, can you switch your mic on?
is done. Now,
Is it green?
yeah.
Okay.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes as presented from June 11th, 2020 and September 10th, 2020.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Ed Nelson for both sets of minutes to be approved. Any other discussion on the minutes?
I have a question. Minutes from September 10th, under commissioners present, Mark was absent excused. He had done that, and Ed was also absent excused. Chad was lost. But I mean, that has to be included in that.
So Mark was excused and Ed was. Thank you for catching that for me.
Any motion's okay with that addition? Second?
Correct. Just a question, Joe. I can only vote on one set of those minutes if you're taking them both at the same time.
Well, you could vote on them, but it's, if you prefer not to,
Well, I don't want to vote on minutes I wasn't present for.
would the motion be okay with separating the minutes to the June 11th first and then the September 10th after?
Yes,
The second?
Yeah, Mark's point well.
So this time I'd ask that the motion's okay to take off the September 10th meeting minutes on this motion. Becky, you good with that?
Yes.
And Ed?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll be voting on the June 11th, 2020 meeting minutes right now. Any discussion on those? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then is there a motion on the September 10th minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from September 10th, 2020.
All right, then is there a second?
I'll second them.
Jane seconds. All right, any discussion on those? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries with Mark Meyer abstaining. Ed Nelson abstained also. All right, Ed Nelson. All right, item 5, new business. Hey, the zoning request for owner CJ Real Estate Enterprises LLP, applicant Joe Getz, of approximately 5 acres from A10 agricultural to A5 mini farm, and approximately 1/10 of an acre from A10 agricultural to A3 agricultural residential estate, with the property located at North 55 West 27361 Lisbon Road, Lisbon, Wisconsin, 53089, tax LSPT 0265.998.002. The applicant is here. All right, Rachel, we'll start out.
Yeah, and I should mention, Mary, I tried to get my screen shared here for the PowerPoint slides, and I can't seem to share it at the moment.
Oh,
Got to make her a co-host.
I thought we did that before. It didn't work then, Rachel? Remember we were working on that with you? Huh.
Yeah, it worked earlier, but it doesn't seem to be the case now for some
Okay.
reason. Sorry.
No, it's right. Somehow it didn't take then. We did that.
Hello now.
Okay,
Okay, it looks like I've got the option. Thank you.
great. Thank you, Rachel.
Great. Okay, can you guys see the PowerPoint slide? Does that look right?
Looks great.
Okay. So yes, we have the rezoning here. The commission has seen this one before in August, if you recall, just a couple meetings ago. I'll try to hit the highlights of the staff report here and the request without going too in depth, because I know you've seen this previously. Our staff recommendations have been modified slightly. I'll just say we've worked with the applicant since that time. They've made some modifications to their request, although that's, I guess, for more of the next agenda item. This is just the rezoning, which technically is the exact same. So this first item will be short. I'll correct my intro here. So the applicant, the owner is CJ Real Estate Enterprises, LLP, which is Joe Getz. And the rezoning is proposed for about 5 acres, which would be a new residential lot from what is currently A10 agricultural zoning to be rezoned to A5 mini farm. And a tiny bit of land, about 0.1 acres, would be rezoned from the A10 agricultural to A3, which is based on Mr. Getz slightly expanding his lot line for his existing parcel to the north slightly, and technically that needs to be rezoned as well. So that was just added to their rezoning request. That's a slight modification from what you saw in August, but overall their general proposal is the same. And here's some slides showing the area in question. So this is just south of County Highway K, or Lisbon Road. There's a large holding here. This would be taking one lot where the red star is shown, creating one new residential lot in this area. It's right off of the end of Elizabeth Drive, which is in a platted subdivision just to the east. And this is the current zoning. The general light green area here is the A10 zoning. You can see down here is Mr. Getz's existing lot, and that is the light yellow is the A3, and that's the area that would be slightly expanded. And this is the recommended land use map from your comprehensive plan. It's all slated for rural density. And this is proposed zoning showing the 5 acre lot that would be created in its location. So in talking about the maps, we've already hit the highlights of this. We talked about the existing zoning, the proposed zoning, recommended land use plan. This is consistent with that. It's scheduled for rural density and some environmental corridors in the area that's not changed or affected by this proposal. In our staff memo that's in your packets, we include some highlights there and reviewed it per the zoning districts that are proposed. We think the proposal makes sense for that zoning. It meets the intent of the district. It does allow hobby farms, residential uses, and that's what they are proposing. The land use plan, it's consistent because this would be within the density range that your comprehensive plan proposes. Sorry, I've lost track of my slide here. Where are we at? There we go. So if the commission is generally comfortable with the rezoning request, you could recommend town board approval. Staff is recommending approval subject to the condition that you also approve a certified survey map that establishes the new lot boundaries for the area to be rezoned, just so that this would go hand in hand with their certified survey map, which is the next item on the agenda. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Or the applicants may have more to add as well.
Any questions from the board at this point? Brian? Ted? Ed?
No.
Dave?
No.
Becky?
No.
Anything additional from the applicant?
No.
All right, so at that point, we'd be, if there's no other questions, we'd be looking for a motion on this item. You might not add. First,
Pardon me?
there you go.
There we go, sorry. Was green, now it's greener. I would move the rezoning request for the owner, real estate enterprise, will the applicant gets approximately 5 acres from A10 agricultural to A5 mini farm, and approximately 0.1 acres from A10 agricultural to A3 agricultural/residential estate. The property located at North 55 West 27361 Lisbon Road, Lisbon, Wisconsin 53089. The tax code number of 0265.998.002. Be approved as presented with attention to town planner comments and recommendations.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second to Brian. And that is subject to your motion, including the comments about being subject to the certified survey map.
Correct. There was also an attending letter from Waukesha County, and that discussion going back to August, I believe, I think all questions were answered.
Other question?
Access,
You're asking if they were answered?
et cetera. Okay.
Rachel, do you know if there's any other outstanding questions as far as with Waukesha County?
No, none from Waukesha County at this time. I think they've effectively been removed from the review process.
Oh.
They don't have jurisdiction.
Just asking, Rachel, because
No
on top
problem.
of that same document was in our packet.
That's right. They started out, the applicants did, and staff had been in discussion with Waukesha County early on because it wasn't clear if they would have jurisdiction. Oh, and also I should mention, this is more specific to the certified survey map, but they did have to get approval from the county for relief from the requirement to map the entire larger tract as part of the certified survey map. So once they got that cleared, that clarified that the county would not have jurisdiction over the zoning, the rezoning proposal, or the certified survey map. Because there is zoning on a small portion of the site in the south end of their property.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Do you have to recommend this to the board?
Was that part of your motion, Ed? Also recommending to the board?
I did not include it in the motion, but it's advisable, Becky. So, I don't know.
I think it's required.
It's required. That's fine.
so.
Whoops. I was trying to get through this without.
Is the second okay with that?
I am.
Motion and second are okay with that. All right. Any other questions?
None.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. All right, item B is a certified survey map request for owner CJ Real Estate Enterprises LLP, applicant Joe Getz, of approximately 5 acres for the property located at North 55 West 27361 Lisbon Road, Lisbon, Wisconsin, 5209. Tax key LSBT 0265.998.002. Rachel.
All right, so continuing with the rest of their proposal, they have a certified survey map You had seen the CSM back in August just for discussion purposes because staff, if you recall, we weren't certain what the town's desire was with regard to how they would get road access and frontage for the lots in order to meet certain ordinance requirements. So they are proposing the CSM, again, to split off a 5-acre lot for one new residential home. And because the property already contains other buildings and homes, they would have to create a new lot in order to do that. So that's what's driving the need for a CSM. The CSM is proposed to have access via a private driveway that connects to Elizabeth Drive. If you recall, this shows an area of the certified survey map. If you can see, the proposed lot is lot 1 of the CSM. Lot 2 to the south is Mr. Getz's existing residential lot. To the east over here on the right of your screen is Elizabeth Drive. That's a road that's built. It's platted all the way up to the applicant's property, but the road is not extended all the way there. The pavement ends short of it because there's a drainage way in between it and the edge of the property. But they are proposing to build a driveway that would connect up to Elizabeth Drive. And if we recall the conversation we had at Plan Commission the other month, it sounded like you all were comfortable with that as an option for them to get access in a way that would meet ordinance requirements. And we'll get into that in a moment, but just so you can see the map, this is the area. So Elizabeth Drive is here. The certified survey map proposes 2 lots with an access easement that would come across the north side of lot 2. And as they've drawn it, it would also extend north and cover some of the existing driveway. So this has, our staff comments revolve around that this would come off of Elizabeth Drive. We have, I'll just kind of go through the comments in order. This makes the most sense because they're on the slides this way and in the memo. This has been run by the fire department and Public Works. Public Works, Joe DeStefano indicated he does want to be involved in plans for the new driveway, of course, and asked us to consider snow storage in making those plans. We've shared before and talked with the applicants that they would need to work with them to get a permit in order to get the driveway, work with the town engineer to make sure it's designed, get the culvert sized properly to cross that drainage way in order to come across here. That's something that we're presuming as staff that this is all conditioned on that happening, and that would satisfy the requirements and enable the town to approve these lots. Fire department did not have concerns with this. The lots as they are now, I should go up to the map really quickly so you can see this again. In the aerial, so the house here on the south end, if you remember, this has a long driveway. In the county zoning or county's GIS map, it's called a private road. But in effect, it's a long shared driveway that goes all the way up to Lisbon Road. And there are several buildings on it, homes, the driving range up here. And by ordinance, the maximum allowed on an easement in order to get road access, if you don't have actual frontage on a road, the maximum is a number of 2 lots or 2 buildings that you can have on a shared easement. So we've been trying to think of how to get this through that limitation in a way that works. And so the direction we're going here is that the new lot would have the access to Elizabeth. Sorry, let me get back to the right slide here. So there's a few code sections. We list these in the memo, but this all relates to the lots having satisfactory access. We think this can work here. We're recommending that the CSM could be approved, but it would have to be conditioned on them getting a shared driveway easement and maintenance agreement submitted and approved to the town prior to a building permit or an occupancy permit. That is staff's recommendation, and up to you to determine whether, if you want to have that as a condition and which permit would be conditioned on. Actually, staff's recommendation is that it would be prior to a building permit so that the construction trucks for building the new home would take access from Elizabeth Drive and not be using the long shared driveway. It would be best, in our opinion, in the town's interest to get that squared away prior to building the home so that the driveway is a functioning constructed driveway. For lot 2, which is Mr. Getz's existing lot, the staff is recommending that the driveway connection that exists now going north to Lisbon Road be abandoned or severed. Again, prior to a building permit or somehow that it's conditioned on that, because that is currently a non-compliant driveway, just because it has too many buildings on that driveway by ordinance at least. So it's a non-conforming driveway, if you will, to your town's ordinances. But that's a decision for you to decide tonight, and I would point out that the applicants have objected to that. The idea that the driveway would have to be abandoned or severed. So I have told them that they could discuss that with the commission tonight, but just so you know, that's why staff is recommending that in the memo. Our fifth comment to point out is that by ordinance, the driveway easement serving the lots has to be at least 66 feet wide. They do provide for this. And the driveway would have to be built to 16 feet wide. The CSM originally did not include, let me run back to this really briefly. The lot, originally lot 1 was shaped so that the existing driveway over here was outside of the new lot. In the most recent version of the CSM, which you have in your packets, this lot was expanded to now include part of that driveway, and then the easement runs up along the driveway. This is not what staff was recommending. We wanted this driveway to be completely off of lot 1, so that lot 1 is not taking access from the non-conforming driveway. So we don't want to make a situation worse by approving access to a driveway that's already got too many homes on it. So for that reason, we're recommending that lot 1 be adjusted to cut off that triangular area in the corner again to keep that driveway off of lot 1. Then lot 1's driveway would only be the access connecting to Elizabeth Drive, if that makes sense. So that's our comment number 5. Comment number 6, access easement. We just wanted to be clear that the easement would, extend across all of lot 2, all the way to the western edge of it. But the intent is not to allow access to all the farmlands to the west, because again, that would be allowing access to more lots than the code allows. So it would just be to lot 1. So lot 2 and lot 1 would be sharing this access drive. That's the idea. Comment number 7, the town would technically need to approve a waiver to the requirement that they map the entire remnant farmstead as part of the CSM. That's the thing I mentioned earlier that the county has approved. So just to make sure that as part of the town's motion, that if you approve the CSM tonight, you'd want to make sure that you're approving that waiver as well. Kind of a technicality. I think you're all fine with that based on what we've heard to date. Some other comments we have are generally more technical in nature. So I'll run through those quickly. We are asking that they add a label or somehow designate what is the front lot line on each of these lots. We think it should be the south lot line of lot 1 and the north lot line of lot 2. They don't have to show all of those setbacks, but from a zoning standpoint, you want to know which lot line is the front, just for permitting and everything in the future, because it's not a road that's actually extending in. That would make that clear. And staff is recommending that addresses will be assigned to both of these lots on Elizabeth Drive, again, to help clarify that that is the primary point of access for these lots. And we do ask that they add some setback dimensions for existing structures on lot 2. And staff is also recommending, this is for commission, an important point to consider, that we're recommending that the easement also be labeled as a reservation for future road right-of-way, because the whole intent is that Elizabeth Drive could be extended westward in the future at some point. Say if the Getz property is subdivided, the idea here is that Elizabeth Drive could be a connection point to serve this broader area if and when it develops. And we recognize that might not happen for a long time, potentially never, but that's what planners would think about. And so that's why we see that comment in the staff review memo. A couple other things to point out just procedurally, that the town, based on the deadline of when they submitted the CSM, you have, I believe it's 60 days or 90 days to approve. Sorry, I'm a little fuzzy on that at the moment. But October 15th is the town's deadline to act. So that would be the town board's deadline to approve or deny the certified survey map. That means tonight the Plan Commission has to make some sort of recommendation to enable town board to take it up at their meeting. And so I don't think it could be tabled tonight. But, and then our recommendation, if you're comfortable approving it, we recommend it with a certain set of conditions, basically your standard conditions that you see for all of your land divisions, that they get approvals from anyone else who needs to approve it, that they reimburse the town for costs of reviewing the CSM, that if there's any unpaid bills, they take care of that. And then any other conditions or decisions that the commission and town board may make. So because I pointed out there's certain decisions to be made there, if you want to weigh in on those tonight, that would be part of your approval motion as well. One final point I forgot to mention, that we had thought this would be subject to, it is subject to review extraterritorial by the city of Pewaukee. Their jurisdiction extends about a half mile away from the city. I think that's what their ordinance has set. We confirmed that the village of Merton will not be exercising any review over this. And I heard from somebody working for the applicants today that the city of Pewaukee probably will not review. I think they're waiving their review, which just takes that out of the equation, but the applicants have been handling that, and it sounds like that will be resolved, no problem. If you have any questions, I'm happy to address them.
Questions from anyone on the board? Brian?
Do we know how far, if Elizabeth would extend through, do we know how far the existing building is from the road right away? Or is it, I guess specifically, is it more than 50 feet?
Didn't quite hear the question.
If you, Joe, if you can come up and talk to the mic.
It's probably false, I don't know, I mean, there is a map that shows the easement, or the 66 feet, and it comes in part of my concrete driveway. Yes, because of, you know, my house was there first, and Elizabeth driveway, not straight where it should have been.
I'm not trying to throw monkey wrench in.
This is, yeah, I mean, this is where the easements are, this is my concrete driveway. It's,
If the Elizabeth would continue to, and it's less than 50 feet from the road right away, then you'd be not conforming with Elizabeth.
Is it a question about, sorry, it's a little hard to hear. Is it about the distance of his home from the right of way?
Yeah.
Is the mic on, Brian?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
The question is the existing home for lot number 2, if the Elizabeth would go continue on through, is it at least 50 feet from the road right away?
Oh, yes, there would be no problem with the setback. I think he's more like 90 feet. What's shown on here is actually a paved area that's closest to the, what is currently proposed as the 66-foot easement. The house is much further than that, so we don't see any, no new problem would be created along those lines.
And then the only other question I have is, so his address, if it was changed, would be from Elizabeth Drive instead of from Howard Field. Correct, you'd have a whole brand new address. Is that correct?
well, I mean, I'm against the Banyan driveway. This is a working farm. I mean, I got, you know, 60 female hogs up there, 2 litters a year. I try to, at night, I'm up there probably, I don't know, out of 365 days, I'm probably up there 90 nights. We got corn bins that we run it. I mean, I'm not gonna, I got a autoimmune disease that when I gotta go to the bathroom, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm not gonna go 2 miles around to get to my house, to get to the farm. I mean, this is just, I know Mr. Stanley was present when I built my house, and we did, the driveway was approved for it, and, you know, one of the main reasons that I'm trying to break this off is for my daughter and son-in-law are very active in the farm. And we're trying, I mean, there's, you know, there's not many farms around anymore, but mine is not the band farm.
Well, that was my next question. If your driveway was approved going to your property at some point, and you make them abandon the property, are we really,
I mean,
I was gonna have to get a home address, he's gonna have to get all.
yeah, I have 3 businesses, I mean, and I got, you know, I don't know, so much paperwork to change and get new addresses and, you know, checkbooks and all, credit cards, and oh my God, you know, but, do I plan on tying in Elizabeth? You know, yeah, I want to use that access, but I mean, I have to have access up to the farm.
That's what I'm trying to figure out a way not to have you say. That's why I'm asking. If it was approved, then we discuss a little bit further here.
But it was-
Abandoning the driveway.
Well, one of the reasons that my surveyor did extend the easement to match my lot line is so if Elizabeth Drive ever did go through, I wouldn't have to go through this again if it's going through. You know. I'll never see that day, but someone will.
And then somewhere along the line, if Elizabeth goes through it, we have to change anyway, but I'm trying to keep you from changing now, if there's a way we can keep that driveway. That's all I'm getting at.
Right.
I don't know if we can or not, but that's the reason for my question.
Well, again, I mean, at one time we did cut this lot short, and my developer ended up moving it just because it made sense to keep the corners of the lots the same, to keep that easement. Not developing the survey.
Check.
No, I agree with Brian, though. I understand the legalities of adding an extra access road, but I find it a hard time to tell a farmer to take roads off on his own property. I really struggle with that. So, that being said, I'm not in favor of having him abandoning a road on working farm. That's my opinion.
Ed?
I prefer existing road that goes out to K is the road I'm seeing on the map, which goes out towards the northwestern direction. If that is your driveway,
Yes, here,
on the map, yeah, so. And does that go through your driving range? That's the same access point.
yes.
It is. Oh, I'm kidding, sorry. Yeah, excuse me, I agree with Ryan's trying to figure out here, and also what Jeff was saying.
Jane?
My only comment is your road is blacktopped down to where, at what point, which is fine. My worry is about the fire department, because that other road that is just a farm road that's going down to service his property and the new lot. I don't know about our fire engines, if they be able to go down that way. If that's
He'll still
allowed
have
to stay.
access from Elizabeth Drive, though.
You're saying that he must do the access from Elizabeth Drive?
I'm in favor of that, but I'm not in favor of telling him he must close or abandon the existing drive to the farm.
Okay.
I have a letter from Doug Brown that he has no issue with my driveway whatsoever, getting on my house.
I don't know, if I drove down there, I don't know. No, but if that's all right for the rest of the commission, I'll go along.
Anything else, Jane? Any other comments? Becky?
I guess I'm a little confused. Brian, you're saying for him to keep that road and his address on K, correct? And then the other lot would access Elizabeth Drive, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, lot number one is the access to Elizabeth Drive for sure. Lot number two, the question is, does he have to access Elizabeth Drive and get a new address and then abandon his existing driveway off the page?
Okay, I would just rather him keep his driveway that he's had for up to years and his address. And then, worry about it later if Elizabeth Drive ever goes through.
Well, it's gonna have to.
Huh?
It has to now. Because lot one is gonna have to have access to it.
No, she's saying when Elizabeth Drive.
I'm
Goes all
saying
the
if
way through.
Elizabeth Drive ever goes through his lot. But no, lot one has to access Elizabeth Drive.
Correct.
Yes, okay.
So we make it more worse.
I don't think we should force him to abandon his driveway.
Would he then, if you allow him to keep his driveway, would he be legal non-conforming? I guess is my question. And if he is legal non-conforming, can't improve anything more than 50% of the work of the house. If you had a fire or if you model or something like that, then we'll just look from that. So it's just something I'm throwing out there.
Yeah.
Look at this looking.
Mark?
Yeah, I'm having a real hard time hearing most people other than you, Joe, but so I apologize if I'm asking something that somebody's already answered, but lot one is going to, they want to maintain access to that existing driveway, or they do not care?
They're going right out to Elizabeth.
So lot one's coming off Elizabeth, you want to maintain the access for the existing house?
Yes,
Okay. I think as long as we're not adding another lot and house onto that driveway and it's been being used in its current form for quite some time, I'd be okay with keeping that, that driveway there. But I would prefer to see that no part of it is actually on lot one. And I'd want to make sure that to avoid the fire department having to take a long gravel drive to get back to the house on lot two, that some sort of access is provided off of that driveway from Elizabeth to lot two as well. So that they've got paved road to go on most of the way. I don't know if that's what's been planned or if lot two is only have access from the existing drive.
and I have no issues lot two to cut into their drive to, I mean, for me to, you know, to get on, my driveway is a half mile long, and there's only probably an eighth of a mile that's paved.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a gravel driveway, I mean, my cars are never clean, I mean, it's their own stuff. I mean, I would, you know,
Yeah, and I agree with Becky. I think I don't see a real necessity to change his address and remove that driveway access right now, as long as the appropriate notes are made on the CSM that if Elizabeth Drive ever goes through, that driveway is going to be abandoned, and the address will probably change then for lot two, so that there's no question down the road that once Elizabeth Drive goes through to a subdivision or some other development, that driveway is fully abandoned and the streets that are put in are what's used.
and I have no issue with that whatsoever. If Elizabeth Drive goes through, I have no issue with banning it.
And that 66-foot is going to be a road reservation, correct?
Yes.
That's all I have.
I have no desire to disrupt your operations on this land. I will say we are not the ones creating the problem, though, Joe. I mean, what's happened here over the years has really created a mess. I mean, there's two triplexes, at least I believe they're triplexes, another house, and a driving range and a farm on a road that's only supposed to have two accesses.
Yeah.
So, and now we're going to have another lot exiting onto Elizabeth Drive. I mean, ideally, I think 1 and 2 should go on Elizabeth Drive, but I understand, and I'm not here to, I'm a property rights guy. It just, the reason we have planning now and we have rules is to avoid this. And at some point, I don't know when, I'm sure you'll subdivide this or one of your peers will at some point, but.
Well, I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah.
There's no land, the land is getting less and less for 400 years. So.
Yeah. So I think we're making the best of what we can, what we got. So there's a lot of conditions in here. We have to do the revenant waiver. Does anyone have any issue with that? Does anyone want another explanation of what that is? Does it need an explanation? Rachel, can you just explain the revenant waiver again?
Yes, that is, oh, sorry, now I'm forgetting which code section that is. I think that is in,
My daughter knows what it is.
We'll let it go quick, just so we can put it on record.
yeah, so that is your chapter 12 ordinance, section 2.06L. Just requires that if you have a remnant that's less than 20 acres, it be part of the CSM or plat. That's sounding odd here. Do they have less than 20 acres? I think the rest is more than 20 acres. So now I'm I apologize, I'm questioning why that's in here. That could be just a mistake. Is your larger parcel, correct me if I'm wrong, is, how many acres is it, Mr. Getz?
My farm,
Yeah,
180.
okay, yeah,
It's
so,
actually 177 with my mom. Well, take my lot and my mom's lot off, it's 174.
yeah, so I don't actually know that the waiver applies, I'm sorry. I think we can get rid of that one.
Yeah, that's a county thing, I think. They already approved it.
I think I'm mixing that up with the counties because they have a different threshold. So,
So we can remove the remnant waiver.
yes, thank you.
The permit, as far as allowing the permit of the home until, is that relevant anymore? As far as access to Elizabeth Drive?
I'd say staff comment number 4 in the memo would go away. It sounds like because you're not requiring a disconnection of the existing driveway. But did I hear right? So it sounded like the applicants were agreeing and commissioners had some consensus that the existing driveway should be removed from lot 1 as far as with keeping it outside the boundary of lot 1. So modifying the map in that way, letting the existing driveway remain.
It's asphalt, isn't it?
No, no,
That's gravel.
Gravel.
So you can move that outside the lot line.
No, I can't move the driveway. I can move the lot.
Yes,
Driveway is not. I have to redo the lot like originally had it.
We're taking the lot line back to how it was originally. Right, Rachel?
yes, staff would find that acceptable too.
So was it moved to the west just to line up with your corner of parcel lot 2? Is that why it was moved? Why was it moved?
Yes, just so we had an even lot line, an even point of the 2 lots. My surveyor recommended that we had a easement all the way through the 2 lots. With no reservation.
And as long as their lot 1 is 5 acres in size, they're fine. So they can, jiggle the lot lines a little bit, make those changes. I don't think that would be a significant change between now and, I guess not between now and town board unless you turn it around that fast. But I think those, if you find that acceptable as a condition, that their lot will be more or less the same configuration, just with a minor change in that area.
So we can approve that. That's okay to do on a CSM, even though we don't have it in front of us.
I believe so. As long as the commissioners understand what that change would be.
Everybody understand what's happening, or the lot line will be moved?
Yeah.
All right, so that takes care of pretty much everything.
I have met with the town engineer already on the driveway. Waiting for a recommendation on the culvert size. I have met with Mr. Stefano. We have an agreement on where the driveway's going through on Elizabeth Drive. I don't know if that needs to be conveyed to someone on the board or just, or that, I don't really know what has to be done there.
As far as
That's,
putting the road in.
yeah, I mean, that's all. Not that I'm stepping on someone's toes.
Sure. Well, we can work with you on that, to make sure the proper process is followed there.
You could include a recommendation, right, short, simple, as that, yeah, client, possibly verify. Yes, and then if there's any dedication or anything, that's all necessary for that improvement. And if you have the town, after.
Mark, can you hear what he's saying?
Oh,
Not at all.
yeah. Oh,
I can't hear you.
Mm-mm.
Sorry, guys.
Your microphone someone can
It's
use?
because these mics are right next to the speakers right there. There's nothing we're gonna be able to do about it.
Is that a question or a,
Now I can't hear Rachel.
Mm-mm.
You guys hear me?
just barely?
Might have to go down a little bit. Yeah, you're gonna have to.
Here. So the condition, the other condition that I was suggesting would be, something we do in typical developments, would be to have a brief development agreement, between town and Mr. Getz, that would just indicate that, what the plan is with Elizabeth Drive, indicate the cost would be incurred by, Mr. Getz and any necessary dedication, as it relates to Elizabeth Drive, would be provided to the town at the time, you know, when the improvement is, completed. And that was just an additional element to be done, so everyone's on the same page.
What else do we have to cover?
I do have a question, just to clarify, excuse me if you guys have talked about this, I might have just not heard it, but what would be the timeline for the property owners to provide a shared maintenance agreement? Do they need assistance with that? I think typically that's on the applicants to just draft something and get that reviewed by the town. We haven't really talked about the timeline and how they, when they intend to submit something like that, just to get that wrapped up.
What agreement?
Shared maintenance agreement for the road?
Okay.
Yeah, just for the new driveway, so that could be recorded with the CSM. That would be typically the process. Just so in the future, there would be, clear access rights then for both lots recorded with that CSM and provisions for maintenance and who would maintain the driveway. In the event that then a lot were to be sold, it would be clear, into the future.
Typically, it's something that's handled between the two property owners when it comes to payments between themselves and that driveway. And usually, it's just some sort of contract that is provided to the town that is acceptable to the town as well. You can imagine if we don't, if the town see that agreement, and all of a sudden there's a conflict 30 years down the road, and it's a mess, and whoever those property owners are at the time are complaining with the town, etc. I'm happy to work with, some sort of document if they need, if not, they can seek their own, counsel in that regard, or find some sort of.
And if you have some agreement that I can just go and get, signed and certified, I mean, that's acceptable. I appreciate your help.
So is that going to be, do we need to make that contingent in the motion?
I believe it is there already
It's item,
a condition in there that they can have something.
yeah, it was an item,
And Joe, I think that would be covered in the motion as recommended condition 1 is saying subject to all comments of the, staff as noted above in the memo. So the only thing you'd have to clarify in a motion would be where you're changing staff's recommendations. For example, unless you're modifying comment 3, if you're comfortable with that being a condition, that's already covered by the motion language in here, or comment 4 would be stricken though. If I understand right where you're going.
right, so comments 4 would be off, and then also comment 7, correct?
Correct.
Let's cover anything else.
Did you guys discuss that addressing? Did you not want to change the address for lot 2 at this time?
Correct.
Okay, so comment 9 would be
Okay.
modified to only require addressing for lot 1 on Elizabeth Drive, is that correct?
We stated that address would be changed if Elizabeth Drive continues through to the west. At that time, that address would be changed on lot 2.
Okay.
Okay.
And then also, we already have their access, at that time when that extension occurs, access would be terminated at that point. Lisbon Road for that lot. That's something, you know, like, and then don't forget the motion, the developer agreement as well, that's not written in here. That's something that could be added.
Any other questions, comments? Kitchen sinks. Anything else from you, Rachel?
I don't have anything else.
All right. There's no other comments. Is there a motion on this item?
Mhm.
See how fast someone makes this motion. Oh, I got scribble everywhere. I'll make the motion to approve the certified survey and map request for owner CJ Real Estate Enterprises LLP applicant Joe Getz of approximately 5 acres. The property located at North 55 West 27361 Lisbon Road, Lisbon, Wisconsin 53089. Tax scale SPT 0265.998.002. With all planner comments, except we would be removing items 4 and item 7, and we would be requiring a developer agreement for the property with concerns to Elizabeth Drive. Proceed. Does that cover everything?
The applicant is aware that the town does seek reimbursement for certain costs, whether it be the planner, engineer, or even town attorney for the.
Well, I got about $4,000 in bills already, so maybe it's more.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Chad? Any final comments? All,
Recommend it to the board again.
this would go to the board, correct? I would amend my motion to also recommend to the town board. Is there a second to that?
Second is okay with that.
We also had to include the comments as far as the lot line being moved. Correct. I would amend my motion to include that. Is the second okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
I think this is everything now.
Include lot line to be,
The lot line to be moved on lot 1.
thank you.
I would say the intent of this motion is to follow all discussion here tonight and the will of the planning commission that's been put forth. Second is good with that, just in case we missed something.
Can I get a copy of that laundry list?
As soon as we figure out how to print it. All right. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you.
I'd like to thank the applicants for their patience. This has been a process for them.
Item C is the certified survey map request for owner Kathleen Savorius and applicant Anthony Savorius for the property located at West 244 North 8883 Cordell Lane, Lisbon, Wisconsin 53089. Tax fee LSBT 0156.018. The applicants are here tonight. Rachel, start us off.
All right, this is another one you just saw at the last meeting, so it should be fairly fresh in your minds. This is a certified survey map off Cordell Lane. This is just south of the, if I have it right, the Lafarge Quarry and north of North Lisbon Road. You've got the map here showing the aerial photo. This is a parcel that used to be 2 lots, so there's an existing home here right at the end on the west side of Cordell. And there's a larger parcel that was an unplatted parcel, I think at one point left as a buffer sort of between residential and the quarry to the north. The owners are looking to redivide it. Here's the zoning map showing that the parcels, it's one parcel now, but it has split zoning. This is based on how it was originally platted. These lots here along Cordell have your R2 zoning, and it's A5 mini farm on the north side. What they're proposing to do is split it right along the zoning district boundary. So this would, I guess, alleviate a weird zoning situation and enable them to build a home on the northern larger parcel. So that's the purpose for the CSM, is enabling them to build a home there. There's an existing pole building, but that will be a different proposal coming to the town in the future if this is approved tonight. So we've got I mentioned the quarry, the zoning. We've talked before about what's surrounding this. It's, residential area. This is a fit with the recommended land use map in your comprehensive plan. It does show this area planned for low density residential. And this would bring the lots technically even closer to what the recommended sizes are for your comp plan. This would take about 6 acres. Just check the CSM here. Yeah, about 6 acres for the larger lot is what would be left here, and 1.3, almost 1.4 acres for the existing platted residential lot. I'll run through some of the comments here. We talked about zoning, how that fits. This was originally, one of the lots was part of Hawks Heights East, tongue twister, subdivision plat that was recorded in 1983. The applicants had looked for some documents. They provided all they could. I think to date, there was some records lost, I think at the county due to a fire in past years. So there was a little bit unclear, how the parcels came to be in their current configuration, but we discussed that a lot at the last meeting, so I won't belabor that. We know the current situation now. There was a right-of-way reservation extending off of Cordell Lane. That was the big point of discussion at the last meeting as well. And did the town want to continue to have a reservation? Do you want Cordell Lane to be extended? At the last meeting, the guidance was that you did not care to keep a reservation there in light of the quarry and how long that would be likely to be in place. And plus there are other road connection options in the broader area. I'm sorry I didn't include a much bigger map, but you can see here on the zoning map, there are some other roads that extend. So if at some point this quarry land were to be developed into something, a nice subdivision or whatever, you'd have some other road connection options. So this Cordell Lane is not critical. That was the Plan Commission's determination last month. And so this enabled staff to kind of fine tune our recommendations for the CSM. And that's what you see in the packets, modified recommendations in our memo. Okay, I mentioned the reservation. This one has Richfield jurisdiction for extraterritorial review. My understanding is the applicants have submitted the CSM to them. I haven't seen comments yet, but we'd expect to see that coming in. That would be covered by a conditional approval anyway, so they can work on that. You can see the lots here on the screen, kind of how it lays out with their existing structures. There's a temporary cul-de-sac easement off the end of Cordell Lane right now that would, give, it's not built as a cul-de-sac bulb, so the pavement doesn't actually go into a bulb, but the easement is there. That would continue to be in place. They're showing it now on the CSM. And our staff comments. We are saying on this one, the ordinance, section 4.01 requires that if they own other lands adjacent to their CSM lots, those should be mapped. Technically, they do own a lot just to the south of this. On the CSM, it's to the left. It's a vacant lot. That was not noted as a concern previously, so technically you just want to be approving a waiver to that. That's in the staff memo. And these have satisfactory access to a public street, so we don't have a concern there. The issues the staff memo points out, they're not huge. It just relates to driveway encroachment. So if you recall at the last meeting, we talked about the 2 driveways. So both of these lots happen to have driveways that were encroaching on the neighboring lot. And when you have a CSM in front of you for review, this is a good opportunity to get that cleaned up. Or the applicants have the opportunity to put an easement on the other lots so that there's legal access and not a encroachment situation. But the owner at the last meeting said he was willing to adjust his driveway on lot 2. That's a loop configuration. It's gravel, so he said it'd be easy to just move that. And he can correct me if I'm misstating anything here, I hope. But it sounds like he either has moved it or will move it before this is recorded. So the CSM reflects this, where they redrew that driveway to show it not encroaching onto lot 1. So that's why you see it in this current layout. the driveway for lot 1, the existing home, still encroaches on the lot to the south, or the left, if you're looking at the map. Again, it's owned by the same people, but for consistency, staff is recommending that they also correct that driveway encroachment, the same as the one on the other lot, prior to the town signing the CSM. So that's a condition we're recommending, just because we don't believe it's in the best interest of the town to approve a CSM with an encroachment like that. I guess the alternative was they could draw up an easement, but that it seems a little more complicated. But that's for you to discuss and make a decision on tonight. Comment 5, it's a minor one. They've made some corrections, but we should only show existing buildings and structures on the lots. They still currently show proposed relocated shed. So it's a minor thing, but we'd like to get that removed before the CSM is finalized. And add some owner information to that lot that they own just adjacent. That's the one place where some information is missing. That's a small label they could add. We have to update the town certificate. I think the clerk information, treasurer information should be updated. The staff has had some changes, so that's no surprise there. They can just fix that before signing. We were recommending in the memo also that the reservation that showed up on a past document, we would think a title company should be able to confirm if that exists on a document of record, because we want to make sure the town is properly releasing that. If you don't want the reservation, it should be released properly, and maybe the attorney can clarify how that is done. If maybe it's a note on the CSM, or if there's more process needed, we'd want to just make sure that that's clear, because it would give the owners clearer title and not be leaving something funky on their property in their deed. And if the applicant has more information, I know he's tried to look for something on that, but I'm not sure what exactly he may have found. And some
Hold on,
other.
Rachel, Mike's gonna.
Okay.
Yeah, so, pretty much the title report from the title company, getting some more information as it relates to if there is a right-of-way reservation on there, is it years under 1985, so they document there's nothing really else as far as it's in the record that indicates that really is the case, and we're wondering if that might not be truly accurate. And that's just something, we can get some information as it relates to that, we can go from there. If it is confirmed that there is a reserved right-of-way in there, in that location, there's a procedure that would need to be followed as far as discontinuance or vacation of that right-of-way. That I won't get into the details of the procedure of all that. At this point in time, we don't really know if that's truly the case, but we can at least condition it on condition approval tonight on verification or confirmation of the existence of a right-of-way. And if that is the case, then this CSM will be approved on also vacation of that as well, based on what my understanding was with the plan commission last time. So, hope that answers the question in the summary.
Okay.
Yeah, applicant was holding something up. Sorry, that document goes.
Yeah, somebody bring the deed about the deed.
All right, well,
Rachel told me just to bring it to the meeting. So.
is that anybody, whether it be,
Rachel just told me to bring it to the meeting.
okay, has anybody seen it though besides Rachel? Mitch, Lawrence?
Nobody saw it. She just told me to bring
Okay,
it to the meeting. So I brought it.
all right, one of us is gonna look at that. Why don't you have a digital copy of that you could send over to?
Yeah.
All right,
I'll just give you a review of it.
okay, we'll make it for Rachel, and then we could, we'll get that figured out. That might provide us some.
Mark, can you hear this?
Not much.
Mr.
Anthony,
Boyce.
can you go over to that?
Mark, the applicant brought the deed to a property, one of the properties that he owns, or this entire property in front of he owns. We'll have to look at that, and if it's indicated in the legal description, any evidence of any right of way, or if there isn't any indication of that whatsoever, I would still, from the town's perspective, like to have something from the title company, just kind of validating that in a title report. It just, they don't see any indication of a right away on there. I think they plenty of title companies sign off on that. Do the best way to protect the town in this regard. But, you know, sending that deed over will, that legal description will be useful in getting this process back up.
Joe, could you summarize? I can hear you good. I can't hear hardly anybody else in the room.
That would help.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to summarize this one.
Last one,
Come on over, Mike.
It sounds like Mr. Segoria has brought a deed document that can be reviewed. And did Michael say that something is still needed from the title company, or that he could review whatever they find from the title work?
Hold on,
Sorry, Michael.
I'm moving.
Your exerciser.
I've been promoted.
Motion.
All right, yes,
We can hear you.
yes, can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, good. Yes, so the applicant brought a deed tonight. We'll need to look at that deed. That'll be helpful and give us some indication as it relates to what may have been a right-of-way or a right-of-way reservation on Cordell Lane that extended through and across, you know, the proposed lot 2, just an extension. Would like to have a title company look at the property, run a title search, see if they find any evidence of that there is in fact a right-of-way there or something reserved. If there is not, and there hasn't been, then we're good. We don't have to do anything. If there is a right-of-way present or reserved, the town's gonna have to take some action. And depending on the neighboring properties, those individuals would need to be notified, and there's really just a procedure that has to go through that can be pretty simple as it relates to vacating that right-of-way. Waukesha County probably would need to be notified, and usually I will have to double check the procedure, but I believe Waukesha County can just sign off on it. It's presuming that the adjacent property owners sign off on it and the town signs off on it. If not, there is a separate procedure that would require a petition to be filed with the Circuit Court of Waukesha County. Again, if no one objects, it's kind of a box checking item, but it's done in an effort to ensure everybody's been notified of the vacated right away, because it could potentially affect someone's future access rights. That's why there's this step-by-step procedure. So if the title company comes back with no right-of-way indication here, then that's satisfactory to the town. I think we download a title report, or frankly, I don't know what firm uses title companies all the time, but we can just call up the title company and have that report ordered. It won't take very long. It's the process. Okay. When we get to a motion, I'll explain what language you can use and whoever's going to make that
That
motion.
would be absolutely
Yes.
wonderful.
Sorry, yeah.
Does that answer your question? Get that, Mark?
Yep.
All right. Go ahead, Rachel, whatever on the rest.
Okay, I think the rest are just a handful of technical comments. I think the town engineer just had one comment left, and it was about recorded bearings and distances showing for lot 1. We just note that the temporary cul-de-sac easement will still remain in place. That's sort of just a point of information. They may need soil testing for septic, for a new home. That if they, and permitting for the new home, all that stuff, to build that. And if there had been a conditional use, I think previously approved on that property. So if anything they want to build would affect that, they may have to come and get that modified, but that's a future concern. So if the plan commission is in favor of this, we're recommending conditional approval subject to conditions. Same thing, your standard land division conditions, that they get approvals by any other entities that need to do it. In this case, I believe it's just Richfield, of course, town board. and reimburse the town for costs, incurred as part of the review. And again, getting necessary approvals. Sorry, these are a little wordy, but I did not write them. And any modifications that you guys make to the approval conditions tonight, that would be part of your motion.
Comments from the board? Brian?
If you look at the original Fox Heights plan, it specifically says there's a road right away on it. It needs some bounds description. So I guess I'm wondering if there was from in the 1980s and 84, specifically says there's a meets and bounds, so is it safe to assume it's still there, or would the title search just be to see if it was ever removed? And the reason I'm asking is that maybe you could save the applicant stuff. I mean, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, that conversation that I had briefly with the planning engineer was that there was some uncertainty as to had something been done as it relates to this right of way between 1985 and now. I think, and so the only way to just absolutely verify that would have been just get down a company to check that box. And then we go from there.
I understand.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
And the intent is to remove it if it's there.
Yes, and the intent is absolutely to remove it, and
So whatever you gotta do to do that, whether it be through the title company, whatever you gotta do.
okay, yeah, yeah, from my understanding with plan commission, I don't think for the applicant's sake, there's any fear that this isn't gonna go through. It's just to make sure that if there's a right of way, it goes, it's gone. That's the only thing from the town's perspective that is of any concern.
Everybody on the plan commission understands that and good with that?
Yes.
Thank you. Mark?
Yep.
Chad?
Would it be applicable to put a building envelope on this survey map or not? I mean, if his intentions is to build, why would you put the building envelope on the survey map that's drawn on? So he has expectations of where he can build.
So like something that's currently not built that will be built, is that what you're saying?
A building envelope as far as setbacks.
Well, I mean, in order to, obtain a building permit, he's gonna have to comply with whatever the setback is. Those were at that time.
Well, when do we generally have the building envelope put on the survey?
Well,
Yeah. Subdivision.
Something like this where they're dividing lots.
We didn't do it on the Jets farm, I don't think.
you're not, I mean, usually it's done in
I was just trying to be one step ahead, so when you guys plan for your future home or whatever your plan is, kind of have an idea of what's applicable or where you can lay out.
Is your mic on, Brian?
But if it doesn't fit, that's fine. Just a question.
in theory, the town wanted to wait, condition its approval, not sign this until,
I mean, we didn't do it on the last one.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, so if we stay consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, he has to meet all the setbacks that are set forth in our code.
Yeah, and I was just thinking how, if lot one is cut into two, it would just kind of help the planning. Not a big deal. Putting it out there.
Yeah, I'm trying to recall if there's something in the ordinance. Sometimes I see that required if you have a case where a lot has an unusual configuration.
And that's why I brought it up.
Yeah, in this case, I guess it is a atypical lot, so they certainly have a lot of room to work with, but that might not be a bad idea. But my understanding is they're proposing to modify the existing structure. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we already talked to Brian about it. We got an idea, we got drawings already drawn up.
Okay.
Trying to get that approved from the state.
Fair enough.
we'll have to comply with, town building parameters, so at least there's some that regard.
Anything else, Chad?
No, that's all I have. Thank you.
Obviously, questions about the driveway that can address more further.
Jane? No. Becky? Mark?
Nope.
Applicants?
This is approved, I have to come on the 12th.
You had 9 more meetings for you.
Okay.
Kidding. It would be for the town board meeting.
You want me there?
It's up to you. All right, no other questions? Is anyone ready to make a motion on this item? Everybody's more scared of this one than the last one.
Mhm.
Just before anybody says anything. Just add on number 8, I'm not saying here that based on what I've heard from planning commission. In addition to, the existence or non-existence, it would want to weigh that the motion include, the right of way, if it does exist, is vacated or discontinued by the town.
Does anyone wish to make a motion on this?
I would start the motion. I would be so chairman, but Mike, would you went over some very specific items. I didn't take them.
Well, it was basically that include the right of way that would be,
Right of way,
will be discontinued, no matter if it's there or not, it'll be discontinued.
Is that it? Besides the planner's recommendation.
I would say just basically state it's going away no matter what. It's there or not there. It's not gonna be there when this is done.
Okay. Well, I would move certified survey map CSM request for owner Kathleen Devoris, applicant Anthony Devoris. The property located at West 244 North 18A Street, Cordell Lane, Wisconsin, 52089, tax number 0156.018. Approved as per planner's recommendations, with notification that the right of way is discontinued by the town.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Second by Becky. Does that cover everything we need?
I think so.
Everything good, Rachel?
Yes.
I recommend to the board again.
Recommend to the board the same.
Second's okay with that?
Yes.
All right. Any final discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7. Thank you. I already lost my agenda, but I believe the next item is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Who's seconding? Chad seconding? No discussion, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're out at 7:47.
Good meeting.
No more CSN.
See you, Mark.
No receipt.
We're down with CSN. Gosh.
Thank you, Rachel.
Good night, Rachel. Good night, Mark.
Night.
We're off, right? I mean, did somebody fall asleep with these driveways?